because after I did have that experience in Shasta, I noticed every time I'd go near my computer, I would actually feel kind of a prickly, subtle field, maybe 10 centimeters off the front where where the keyboard is and all that. So at that point, I realized, okay, that wasn't just a one-off. This is a continual thing where if I'm close to tech all the time, I'm absorbing this EMF, and I was numb to it for over 2 decades. And many of you might be numb to it as well. Some of you might be aware of it and just, you kind of ignore it and just try and get by. But the important aspect of it is to understand that EMFs that are not controlled, meaning they're not fixed at a specific frequency, they have a messy effect on our body. Where there's been studies specifically done on mice. I've got to look into the human studies because there's new ones now. There's been studies done on mice where a round waveform of a particular number, I don't remember the exact number, created tumors in the mice. And then conversely, a square waveform, which I believe was 50 hertz, don't quote me on it, but it was a square waveform, and I think it was 50 hertz, best off memory, increased their ability to reproduce. So you can actually create positive effects or harmful effects using EMF, but specific frequencies. And the problem is with routers and screens, we're actually getting ranges. We're not necessarily getting a fixed frequency. And that creates this disharmonious electrical charge that we are just passively absorbing. And that's kind of the background in a nutshell. I wanted you to understand that portion because you might be working in tech and then at the end of the day wondering why you're tired and thinking it's because, well, I didn't go outside, well, it's this, well, it's that, well, it's that. I wanted to give you one more data point, and that data point is electromagnetic frequency interference with your system and the potential inflammation that is subtle but happening passively and subtly all around you, and especially in high-tech areas. But yeah, those solutions once more, and I'm going to give you a bunch of solutions we're actually going to use today. So I'm giving you practical day-to-day solutions like put your feet in bare earth and hold the intention that you're going to push the electrical charge out gently. And all that requires is holding that intention, taking a big breath in the nose, and then a big slow breath out the mouth, visualizing and feeling any of that charge just moving down and out your feet into the earth. And that might sound like faith-based crap, but please try it. If it doesn't work for you, that's okay. You're going to get more tools today. But I promise you, you're going to feel something. So that's the first tool. Second tool, if you have nature-based water near you, clean river, ocean, waterfall, any of that, and you're feeling especially charged up or noisy, get in it. I promise you, it's only going to take a couple of minutes and you're going to feel like you just got fully refreshed. There's something about the electrical charge in nature-based water that cleanses out that disharmonious electrical charge that we get from the EMF absorption. And then the third one, we did barefoot in earth, we did water. What was the third one again? Hold on, I wrote it down. I've forgotten the third one. I haven't written it down. What the hell? Okay. Well, it'll come to me and I'll let you guys know when it comes to me. Physical exercise is one actually. Oh, Shungite and clear. Thank you for that reminder. Fantastic. Yeah, that's actually the other one. That was what I was talking about. Shungite, and sometimes if you can't find Shungite, you can try Hematite. Hematite is like a magnet, and these are really cheap. I think these cost me like $5 each, and they're not as, I don't find them as effective as Shungite, but they do bloody work. And also, if you have high anxiety, and I tested these out on a friend in Peru who came to Cusco, which is like 13 feet above sea level, which means your blood gets thinner very fast. So if you walk 5 feet, suddenly you're exhausted. So her anxiety was going up because she thought she was having a heart attack. I put these two in her hands. She dropped right out of anxiety almost instant. And she was like, whoa, what the hell are these? Are these magic? And I'm like, no, homie, this is hematite. That's all it is. It's a mineral from the ground, and it works with human biology. And just, I don't know what exactly it did, but it worked. So yeah, hematite. So thank you for that, Stephanie. Very helpful. I think there's another one, but it will come to me later. So we're actually going to get into, let's see, we're going to get into starting to identify where we're at. This is very important when we've been working our butts off all day or for a chunk of time, and we just want to get kind of a gauge of where we're at, because that allows us to know what we need. So I'm going to throw you into a meditation practice. So please get your, and it's a short one, it's 4 minutes. But what I'm going to ask you is to get your seating comfortable so you can actually put your back against something. So you don't have to worry about your back getting, what do you call it, annoyed. And, hold on. I'm going to time it for 4 minutes, but I'm going to give you the instructions first. This is a very simple meditation. If you ever want to reuse it, I've got a recording of this exact technique on Insight Timer, and it's free. You can use it whenever you want. It's actually from Vipassana, and I adapted it to make it more simple and useful in a short space of time. It's called the original version is called the Anapana. This is a modified Anapana. It's only 4 minutes long, not half an hour. What you're going to be doing is breathing exclusively through the nostrils only, in and out. Slow breath in, slow breath out, not trying to force it. And you're going to be paying attention to this thing here. So you know when people get bull ring piercings? This area is called the columella. So it's the inside bit. If you've got a septum issue, you're just going to pay attention to the top lip. And when I say paying attention to the top lip or the inside of the columella, the breathing, if you breathe in and out your nose, notice if you can actually feel the sensation of air passing that area. Try it now. Give me an N if it's a no. So good. I'm not seeing any N's. So you're going to have eyes closed, nose breathing only, and focusing your attention on the inside here, the air passing this area in and out, or top lip if you have a deviated septum or some other septum issue. I'm going to guide you throughout and expect that your mind may try to pull you away to other thoughts and obsessions, things that you've been ruminating on recently. If that happens, there's nothing wrong with you. Your brain is doing what you've asked it to do at some point in time. You don't need to understand what that means yet. I'll happily get into that later. But when that happens, the point is not to ruminate, not to shame, not to get angry or frustrated. Come right back to focusing your attention right here. It's really that simple. Okay? So you've been primed. Now I ask you, get in your chairs in the comfortable posture, ideally back straight, in a way that you can sustain for the next 4 minutes. You're going to be breathing in the nose gently and out the nose gently and slowly without force. And placing your attention and awareness at the inside of your nostrils or the top lip if you have any kind of septum issue. And you're focusing on the sensation of air when you are breathing in and breathing out. So as you breathe in the nose, you are noticing the sensation of air passing the inside of the nose or the top of the lips, the area between the top of the lips and the nose rather. And as you breathe out, you're observing the sensation of air once more in the same area. And you're just doing that for 4 minutes. Breathing in gently, observing the sensations, breathing out, once again observing sensations. There's no good or bad anything in this experience. We're not labeling anything. If your mind does try to pull you away, just thank it for doing whatever job you asked it to do and come right back to observing the sensations passing in and out of the nose, wherever you have chosen to observe them from. Still breathing in and out the nose, gently, and at a natural slow pace. If any of you feel anxious or agitated in this time, it's okay, there's nothing wrong with you. Just keep observing the sensation in the nostrils, or the sensation of air rather. If there is an uncomfortable feeling or emotion, a thought trying to pull you away, a noise or distraction trying to pull you away, just thank it and come right back to observing the sensation of air moving past either whatever area you've chosen to observe in this exercise. Still breathing gently in the nose and out the nose, observing the sensation of air passing the area you've chosen to observe. And slowly and gently open your eyes and come back. All right. So, if you would be so kind as in the chat to type what came up for you in terms of feeling and experience during that exercise. Trying to let go, little anxiety. Yeah, that's pretty common. That's okay. We are going to help you with that. What else do we have? I wanted to breathe out my mouth. Near the end, I closed one nostril and breathed out the other, which helped. Oh, interesting. I struggled to relax at first, and somewhere in the middle, I let go a little and got very calm. Good. I was pretty distracted and kept having to bring myself back. Yeah. It's all pretty typical stuff. My mind pulling me towards personal issues. When I focused, I was able to see a little light. Great. And then very relaxing. Good. Okay. Yeah, this is all very typical across the board experiences. So yeah, just in case you were worried, there's nothing wrong with any of you. Generally, this is what this tool reveals. If you've got coping mechanisms that allow you to move through the day, this will show you what they're hiding. That's it. That's I mean, there's other things this does. This does help you get into relaxation. This does help you to get into the body in a very quick way. But the way I use it is to see what's really happening underneath the coping mechanisms in a really quick way, but from the perspective of letting the person who's doing it actually see and experience it. So, you know, example, if I'm going to be direct addressing some of these comments, the distraction mechanism trying to pull you to thoughts, usually that's a trained response to the present moment has historically been uncomfortable for me. And when I say historically, I mean usually in childhood, and then we create echoes of it in our lives in different ways, in the work environment, in a romantic environment, you know, all over the place. So that is usually seeded at a very early time. And what we do to cope with, say, chaos in a family environment, that's usually where that kind of thing is seeded. Usually we say, you know what, I kind of don't really want to be in the present all the time. Can you trip me out to either looking at things that are interesting or send me off into my imagination, right? So that's usually how that moment turns into a coping mechanism that wants to distract us. It's like what people call ADHD is absolutely an adaptation to discomfort in chaos or a dysfunctional environment. So that's one version of it. The breathing one is interesting. Near the end, I closed one nostril and breathed out the other. Yeah, I need to tune into that one probably nearer the end. Like I really want to drop in and tune into that. That's unique, and it feels like it's important to actually get into that. But as we do some exercises, you may actually discover some interesting things. Now, trying to let go, feeling anxiety, any kind of uncomfortable feeling coming up, that's a similar thing. So if, for example, I felt anxiety persistently in an environment I was not supposed to feel anxiety, then my adaptation would be, okay, hide the anxiety from me. I don't want to know it's there. I just want to function so I can be present in life, right? And that's super common. So the point of me sharing this with you is twofold. One, nothing wrong with any of you, right? These adaptations, they're natural. They're a part of what we do creatively as humans to function in dysfunction. And yes, usually starts very early. And if you look back, you know, if you haven't looked back before, you might go, oh crap, yeah, actually that checks out. So that's one part. The other part is if you've ever been diagnosed with a mental health disorder, as this, as the industrial culture of healing likes to structure it, what you may find is if you look at your diagnosis as an adaptation and go, why did I choose that adaptation? Why did I design it? You may see it from a different angle. Rather than I am debilitated with this thing, you might see it now as, oh, I created this. And it really has been helping me with that type of circumstance. Great, now I don't need it anymore. Maybe I can create a new adaptation, right? And you can. So yeah, that's an important note. So thanks all of you for sharing. I'm now going to ask you to share something else. Can you tune into your bodies? And when I say bodies, I mean everything. Like whatever you're feeling, where there's a sensation attached, can you tune in and tell me if you can feel any sense of stress or agitation or discomfort? And I don't necessarily need to know what it is, but just can you feel anything like that right now? And just give me a Y in the chat if it's a yes, an N if it's a no. All right, we got quite a few Y's so far. Oh, we got an N. Fantastic. That's always good to see. All right. Let's see. Got a few folks either not sure or being a little shy. That's okay. Well, for those of you who said, well, for those of you who answered, I have another question for you. And this question is, if you were to give yourself a score, now you have this awareness that there's something, or for most of you, something out of sync, something that feels like it could be stress or agitation or discomfort. What score would you give yourself out of 10 if 10 was Zen master level of inner peace? What score would you give yourself out of 10 right now? All right, so 10 is I'm a Zen master. 0 is I work at Disney as their chief engineer and they've got a Marvel movie coming out tomorrow and I've got to do 1,000 things. Okay, 5, 6.5, 6. Okay, let's see what else comes up. Because we're going to use this as a scale of measurement as we use these tools so you can actually see the effect. Okay, so for those who don't understand, first, if you can tune into your body and just flag if there's any discomfort, any agitation, and it's just a blanket, you know, I don't feel 100%, I don't feel super peaceful. I feel something's a little off, it's a little discomfort. That's where it's a yes or no, a Y or an N. Yeah? So we start there because I want to see if you're aware of the discomfort first. Yeah? If you have any. Second part, are you able to give yourself, your body, the feeling you have within you, a score out of 10, where 10 is, I feel like a Zen master. I feel so at peace and so liberated from any strain or suffering or discomfort or agitation. 10 out of 10, right? 0 out of 10 is, I am in hell, right? Okay, good. I'm glad that was cleared up. Yeah, 0 out of 10 is I am in absolute hell and miserable and overstressed and burnt out and my eyes feel like they're going to fall out of my head. I probably work for Disney or, you know, Google on a crunch project, that kind of thing. All right, so it looks like we've got some average scores. We look like an 8.5. That's actually pretty good. Okay. And yeah, it looks like the average here, well, we got range of 5 to 8.5. So yeah, 5 is usually I'm functioning in my day, but there's stuff in the back of my mind that's messing with me a little bit, you know? And if you were, even if you were like even a 7, I'd say even an 8, you're usually in what I like to call stealth survival mode. And what that usually means is, all right, I look like I'm all right. I've got a smile on my face. I look like everything's okay. But in the back of my head, I'm thinking about bills to pay. I'm thinking about stuff to do. It's not overwhelming me, but it's there. And it's not allowing me to fully relax. Because there's a belief if I let go, I'm not going to get it done. I'm going to fail. I'm not going to get my rent paid, blah, blah, blah. It's very logical, but it's not really, it kind of keeps you in a cycle without realizing it. And, you know, we can get into some metaphysical logic and structures around like what that's really doing. And ultimately it is affecting the body because it's saying something in silence, which is, I don't believe I'll be okay, right? So we're going to play with some tools now. All right, you all got these numbers. You've all got these reference points. Paran, what's your number, bruv? Could you get that in there, please? Are you a 9? Are you a 10? Are you an 8? Out of Zen. 10 meaning Zen. I think we're missing a few others, but you know what? If you're doing it privately, that's fine. Oh, you're a 7. Okay, 7 out of 10. So that would tell me you might actually have discomfort, but you've really hidden it well from yourself. But you're going to find out. We're going to see, because we're going to do some tools here. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is clear our fields using sound. Okay, meaning physical sound. Now, can you hear this? Yeah. So that is a sharp clap. There's this. You'll notice it's got a pop and it stings on the hands. And there's this. A bit more cupped, it's a bit gentle. Kind of sounds similar. Maybe it's because I'm really trying to make an effort to cup it. But there's a difference between an audience clap and a sharp clap. Visually, if I was to show you the sound waves around when I do this, this one's probably like a nice curve, and this is probably a lot sharper or flatter. I think it's actually sharp. But how it works in our space is that it cancels out any funky frequencies. It's actually a shamanic tool. I was taught this by someone who practices African shamanism, specifically the Yoruban tradition. And what they would do before we did any work together in the subtle realms was they would do sharp clapping all around their body, like as if they were cleaning out the egg, the invisible egg that surrounds them. And the invisible egg that surrounds is in older medical literature called the Biofield. It's not something that you necessarily have to take on faith. You know, well, you're going to have some experience of that as we do this exercise. But it's a system that was demonstrated through exercises and events by the Zulu tribe. The Zulu tribe were observed by a guy called Bert Hellinger, who made this, not made, but, you know, kind of colonially stole this thing that he turned into family constellations. Family constellations actually come from the Zulu tribe. And their version's a lot trippier. But the idea of it, so you're aware, is that our biofields contain hidden data that sensitive people can actually read, i.e. psychics, like myself, like other people I work with. They can pick up that data from your biofield. And that data contains ancestral trauma information. It contains information about what you're actually feeling in the moment. It contains actually projections you're trying to put out into the world. So when you see a salesperson who's like magnetic, usually they're people who've gotten really good at pulling in an energy and conjuring an energy in their bodies to appear a certain way, right? So they're like, I want to be seen as confident and I've got my shit together and I am just so successful with the clothes I'm wearing and the energy I'm putting out and the words I'm using and and they're really working hard at creating that energetic presence that then gets baked into their biofield. So it's like they're programming a piece of energetic software over and over and over, right? So it becomes stronger, it becomes more, I guess doing more programming doesn't make code stronger, but you know, I think you get what I'm trying to say using that kind of shonky metaphor. But our biofield carries all this data. It also carries what we absorb from other people. And that actually ends up translating into our body as inflammation. So if you've ever worked your butt off with a team, or you're a family householder, or you end up in relationships where you're carrying the other person a lot, you may, or you're the therapist of your friends, right? You may find yourself feeling very tired a lot, yeah? And it's not caloric burn. It's that there is this hidden aspect of carrying energy, carrying the emotions of others, because we connect to it and we feel responsible for it. Yeah. So there's a couple of tools you're going to get right now. The first one, if you have the space, you can bow out of this one. There's other tools that are going to do this, right? If you have the space, I'm going to ask you to stand up and do counterclockwise sharp clapping all around your egg, and then a big like sumo style clap, still intersecting your hands so you don't sting yourself too bad. All right, sumo style clap in the middle, breath in, breath out, pushing out. Okay, So, sorry, my notebook fell. So yeah, you're going to stand up and do this all around the egg. Be thorough, and then big sumo clap in the middle, straight ahead of you, in front of your heart. Big breath in, big breath out, push out. And then you're going to take a moment to review. All right, so folks, if you can, please stand up. And I'll cue you when to start. Okay. All right, so now begin the sharp clapping in counterclockwise circles in front and around you in your invisible egg. Sharp. All right, it's going to sting a little. It's okay. Yeah. Good work. Yeah, nice and sharp, even behind you if you feel it. I like low, wherever you feel. Like you're shocking the noise and the dirt out of your biofield. Okay, the energetic dirt. I'm being a bit lazy with my words. Right, it's just stuff that's out of harmony with your system. All right, now the next bit, big sumo clap in the middle. All right, keep your hands closed, big breath in the nose, pulling the arms in, big breath out the mouth, slow, pushing the energy out. All right, now stay in that space for a moment and notice, how do you feel? Does your space feel a little lighter, a little clearer? If it does, please put a Y in the chat. All right, it's much cheaper than using smudge. Look at that, unanimous. You can thank the Yoruba tribe from North Africa for that tool. It's brilliant, super simple, don't need to burn anything. You can sit down now, it's okay, get cozy. But yeah, it's a fantastic tool, super simple. All right, so that's the first one. For those of you, look at that, Oshun, okay, yep. The goddess, the deity of the rivers. Although it's funny that we get the word ocean and Oshun is not of the ocean. That one tripped me up. So I don't know if that was just a weird thing of an ancient system being poorly translated into Latin. I don't know. Okay, so interesting question. Big burp and sound release on the clap. That's great. So burps, coughs, yawns, sneezes in a context of engaging your emotional body or biofield are a sign of letting dense energy leave your body. All right, if you want to have a trippier experience of that, there's a workshop I'm going to tell you about at the end of the event. Okay, but yeah, that's real, that's good stuff. Now the counterclockwise part. Okay, so in ancient systems there are many aspects of the language of the system that seem universal, right? And it might not matter for some of you. There's a lot more depth into what I'm about to tell you. I'm going to give you the shortest version possible. Clockwise usually means to move forward, to create, to grow, right? When time moves forward, plants grow, things get created, life moves into death. When it goes backwards, we're resetting. We're going back to what was, what the seed was, what the start was, right? And in metaphysical systems like witchcraft, like shamanism, backwards is usually to cleanse, right? Now, not everybody agrees with that, yeah? Because the thing about these systems, the subtle energy systems, they require thought, intent, and emotional energy all in alignment to be effective. And if someone does not have that felt belief that clockwise means A and counterclockwise means B, it's not going to work that way for them. Yeah? So that's an important kind of diversion nuance to share, but you know, obviously important for you because you're interested. But yeah, that's why I engage the counterclockwise. But if clockwise makes more sense to you for cleaning, because sometimes people have a different relationship with cleaning. Some folks rage clean, and for them, that's like a form of moving forward or progression, you know. So for them, that might be clockwise. You see. Anyway, bit of a tangent, but a good one. So I'm going to give you the second tool now. That makes sense to me, your explanation, but I kept wanting to switch directions. It's important that you look into that because that's telling you something about your specific language. Yeah? And you can trust that. It could, maybe for you, you're cleaning energy in both directions and you're just alternating. Right? Anxiety future, depression past. See? Everyone's got really interesting connections with these ideas. It's fantastic. And Stephanie, that could absolutely work for you. Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so that's the first tool. Really simple, really elegant. You're not going to forget that one. And, you know, I'll give you the recording as well. But the second one, we're going to use a tool called Invocation. Some of you are familiar with this because some of you I've worked with before. But effectively what invocation is, it's often a term used once again in the ancient systems like witchcraft, shamanism, etc. And it's a form of using word as cast energy. So in the same way, a salesperson who's, you know, made it their life to be really good at convincing people that they want whatever they're selling, they charge up the energy of their words to have way more power than a person who doesn't give that much of a crap about selling things would, right? But that is the fundamental piece. It's taking words and putting energy into them that are meant to have an association that is energetically aligned with the word. So if I said, you know, affirmations, for example, right? Great example to use. Affirmations, a lot of times people will tell you, yeah, you should do your affirmations. If you're not making money, just say, I am abundant, I am wealthy, I am this, I am that. Lovely idea. However, if your system does not believe those words, all you're doing is saying misaligned words and your system is going to get annoyed because your system is likely one that wants truth. Most systems do. So if I said, I am abundant, I am wealthy, I am this, I am that, and I'm looking at my wallet and I've got, you know, $2 in there, I'm definitely going to feel like I'm full of shit. But if I say those words with the intention that I am calling that energy into my field, into my system, I'm essentially using the words to say, I am this energy, meaning this is what I'm bringing to myself, not I have this right now, but rather I am becoming the person that holds this attribute, this quality, this value, and it feels truthful to you, then you're going to have a sensory experience that confirms it. So rather than keep this in theory, we're going to do a practical exercise right now. So the first one we're going to do, repeat after me. I'm going to ask you to say this out loud. And then once you're done saying it out loud, you're going to take a big breath in the nose, hold it at the top for like a second or two, and then big, slow breath out the mouth, emptying the mind of any expectation, and you're going to feel what's in the body. You don't need to remember all that. I'm just priming you. I'm going to do step by step with you, okay? So let me just grab the invocation. Where are you, my notepad? Okay, Invocations, where the buggery are you? Bear with me a moment, folks. This is going to be good. If you've not experienced this before, it will trip you out and it will feel nice. Or it'll shock you into going, oh, why don't I like that? Oh, bugger. Okay, my iCloud is absolutely sucking, so I might just have to type this from memory, which is fine because I've bloody done this 1,000 times now. Okay, yeah, screw it. I don't know what's going on with my iCloud search. All right, so where are we? Zoom, zoomy, zoomy, zoom. Okay. So do a repeat after me. Yeah, we'll just do it repeat after me. I don't even need to write it down. Okay, repeat after me. With sincerity, with intent, and if it feels weird or, well, you know what, don't worry about it. Let's just do it. Repeat after me. I am not responsible for anyone else's energy. I am solely responsible for my sovereign energy only. I own only my energy. Take a big breath in the nose. Hold it for a second or two at the top, and then big, slow breath out the mouth. Close your eyes, empty your mind of any expectation, and just dissolve into observing what arises. Observing what feelings arise in the body. You may feel something lightening off your shoulders. You might feel tension suddenly arise. You might suddenly feel relaxed. You might suddenly feel confused. Whatever you felt, please type it in the chat box. It might still be blossoming, you know. If you want to give it a couple more seconds, go for it. I want to cry. Okay, good. Cry. That's good. Present, fantastic. I felt love, brilliant. I like wiggly worms in my tummy, not butterflies. Okay, hopefully good worms. Hopefully that's not parasites. I don't think it is. I love that description. My head hurts as buzzing, had to yawn and saw yellow. Okay, this is all good. Moved burden of shoulders, fantastic. Off. Good. Move burden of shoulders to hands. Yeah, no, off. That's much better. Okay. So we got some really good feedback there. So you'll notice from these descriptions, some of them seem like positive experiences and some of them don't seem like positive experiences. So I'm going to explain the full spectrum. The folks who want to cry or the folks who are feeling pain or discomfort, that's the body. So first with crying, that's an expression of energy that's been held onto. And typically when that's occurring, it's because someone has been holding so much for others and they're having a grief about it. They're like, oh, fuck, I need to let this go. Like, I need to come back to me. It's usually mothers or the type of person who gives to everyone else and doesn't fill their own cup. It's a very common thing. They're usually the caregiver, the CEO, the parent, the mother, that kind of, like, there's someone who's a nurse or a healer, that's usually the archetype, the caregiver archetype. Now, when you've got pain, that's the body actually fighting that idea. That's the body saying, I'm having resistance to this. I want to be responsible for others. That's my identity is clinging to something in that. I don't want to let that go, and that's a common experience. If you feel present and you feel good and you're feeling positive sensations you don't fully understand yet, that's usually the experience of the body accepting, oh, I can let that go. I don't have to hold things for others. It's a body that's actually willing to accept that idea. And if it wasn't before, if you went from a moment of tension to a moment of peace, chances are your body was actually in that role, but didn't know it. But it wasn't such a dense part of your identity that it caused you massive discomfort. You just shed, So it may be a part of your identity, but it's not something that's really tough for you to move through. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. Okay. So we're going to do that invocation one more time because you're going to see what happens when you stack. Okay? Because these words, when they are said with this clear intent, in this type of presence, with sincerity, they have that energetic charge, which actually has an effect on the body. Yeah? So we're going to do it one more time. I might, I'm doing it on the fly, so I might get the words a bit different. So please don't hang on to any kind of, details that may seem a little bit like, wait, why is he saying it like this now? Because I'm just riffing based on, history. Okay. So repeat after me one more time. I am not responsible for anyone else's energy. I am responsible for my sovereign energy only. I own and love my energy only. Take a big breath in the nose and hold it for about a second or two. And then a big slow breath out the mouth with your eyes closed. Really take time with that breath out the mouth and observe, letting the expectation leave your mind, and just observe what sensations arise in the body. We're going to take time to really let the sensations blossom. All right? Glad to hear it, Gail. It's fantastic. So yeah, this is you seeing evidence of an invocation that is very specifically targeted, stacking. That's like someone doing Reiki on you for 1 minute and then Reiki on you for 2 minutes. The effect starts to compound. Another big yawn and tingling all over, much better than a headache. You see, so the second round, the bodies that had discomfort were starting to accept more. Yeah? I'm guessing those of you who felt relaxed might be feeling even more relaxed. Empowered, even better. The stress leaving the shoulders, now we got empowerment. Yeah. It's like you're giving yourself permission to be present and whole with yourself only. Your mind isn't, and the energy of your attention is not being taken by someone who's in your mind. Yeah? And it's not to say there's anything wrong with that. It's just we lose syncing with how much we do that and how much it actually impedes our sense of presence and self, especially in this world that's hyper connected and so many notifications and things that are activating our dopamine reserves and all of that. I had discomfort at first and didn't the first time, but I stayed with it and felt both tension in my heart and also expansion, and I felt intense gratitude for this moment. Fantastic. Yeah. When we get off this, do it a few more times, you're going to see even more, I'm actually going to give you a different invocation now, right? And for those of you who did sign up for this, well, it's all of you. I don't know why I said that. I'm going to send you an email with the recording, and I'll put the invocations out as well so you can practice them at home. And it's really powerful if you do it in a mirror too. Like that somehow makes it like 5 times stronger. So the next invocation, this is an interesting one because we're going to use a shamanic tool. It's a little bit out there in terms of the concept. If you've never used this before, it's going to seem like I'm taking you into like wacky land. But it's not. It fucking works. It really fucking works. And this is stuff taught to me by one of the first shamans I worked with, a guy called Shaman Durek, who's famous for a random bunch of things, but he really knows his shit. So he taught me this thing, right? And essentially what we're doing is we're engaging the system of our body as a network of intelligent energy. Meaning, let's go wacky land. Yes, we're fucking going there, right? Your heart, your lungs, your throat, your nose, your eyes, they all have energetic intelligence. You can talk to all of them. There's been a recent study that was going around on the memes. I didn't have time to go into it before this session, but I am going to do it before my workshop, which is linked to all of this stuff, right? The study was proving that you can create healing effects by talking to your body. It's absolutely true. It's fundamental in how I healed arthritic symptoms in my hands, knee injuries, heart issues. I talked to my body and aligned it with an action that backed up what I said. I'm not kidding. It fucking worked. I like the arthritic symptoms in my hands. Like I turned 47 a few weeks ago. That was something that happened when I was 42. I was in the jungle where you're not supposed to get arthritic symptoms. Like it's hot. You're supposed to get that in the cold, right? So I was getting arthritic symptoms going, oh no, crap, I'm fucking 42 and I use computers and I work with people. Like, what's this? This is going to fuck up my life. And I had this image of me as a kid taking hits, blocking myself like that. And I was taking the hits on the bone, right? And I thought, hold on a minute. Does this mean I absorbed a belief into my bones? We usually hear about in somatic work, the fascias where you absorb your emotions. Total horseshit. It's everywhere. Bones, muscles, fascia. Yeah, that's what's real. Because what I found out is in my bones, I was holding the energy of I am powerless, I am incapable. All right. And that energy, if you consider, you know, the woo-woo folks, charge their crystals. What are crystals bloody made of? Silica. What are our bones made of? Silica. We can charge our bones like we can charge bloody crystals. So I charged my bones every time I was struck with I'm weak, I'm powerless, because someone bigger than me was kicking my ass, right? So what I decided to do in that moment was, okay, so if that's what my bones are charged with, then I never charged them with anything else. Maybe I need to charge them with I'm powerful and capable, and I need to do an action that shows that. So I decided I'm going to the gym. I'm going to do this for 2-3 months. If nothing works, if it doesn't work, then screw it. Like this doesn't work and I'm up shit creek and I don't know what else. So I went to the gym. I intended to my bones. So I held the intention first. That's like a psychic mouse pointer going right here. Pointed at the bones. And I said, you are powerful. I am powerful. You are capable. I am capable. Doing dumbbell curls, right? Within a month and a half, gone. No arthritic symptoms. I haven't had them since. I had one flare up, and that was when my little one was coming along and I was super stressed out because I felt completely incapable to change the shitty situation I was in. So I had a flare up for like a few days in a week, one time in 5 years, right? But that's how I did it. So using the logic of intending to speak to a part of yourself and speaking, can you do that with weight and inflammation? Absolutely. You can do that with anything. Yeah, this is the same logic that healed my knees. I had 15 years of knee pain, gone at 38. That's 9 years ago. Yeah. I had a heart attack at 28. I have had no heart issues since. Yeah, ain't that crazy? Fucking heart attack. Yeah, and that was tied to grief and not being able to feel. All injuries, unless you had your arm sawn off with a chainsaw, something like irreparable, all of them, in my experience with myself and experience with others I've worked with, the root is always emotional. Even if you were like struck, there's a moment where in that strike, you make a judgment about yourself and you bake it into that body part. And that is what keeps the inflammation from reducing, because there's always inflammation when there's injury. Yeah, there's always a charge preventing the injury from becoming recovered. So you're going to have an experience of this right now. Quickly check what your scores out of Zen are for me. All right, and please put them in the chat. So score out of Zen, chuck it in the chat. Okay, we've got 7. Good, so a lot of these numbers are up by the looks of things. 1 is down, but that's okay, because we're still going to move it up. All right, so yeah, good broad set there. We had 5 to 8.5, now we've got 7 to 8.5, so the range has shrunk. Fantastic work, folks. So this next one, you're going to set your intent to trust that you are connecting to the intelligence in your nerve system. The doctors call it nervous system. I do not, because nervous system says it's predisposed to be nervous. which is shitty linguistics. We are not going to do that. Nerve system. Okay? And I'm going to ask you to address it as intelligence in my nerve system. You know, if you're feeling a little more woo-woo, spirit of my nerve system. Okay? We'll do it repeat after me style, but the first most important thing is you hold that intention that you are connecting with the intelligence in your nerve system. All right? So, and you're going to reference your number. So just keep your number in memory. I'm going to basically say to you, spirit of my nerve system or intelligence in my nerve system, please bring your state of rest from a 7 or 8 or 6 up to a 10 out of Zen. Okay? Really that simple. Thank you, I love you, breath in, breath out. I'll take you through the whole cycle like I did before. Okay. So repeat after me with sincerity, first addressing your intent to trust that you can connect to and address the intelligence in your nerve system. And you interchange spirit or intelligence, that part's up to you. I'm going to say spirit. Spirit of my nerve system. Thank you for connecting with me today and hearing me. I call upon you now to move your score from your number to a 10 out of Zen, feeling fully rested and at peace. Take a big breath in, big slow breath in the nose. Really give yourself that air and that light, and then hold it for a second or two at the top. And then the slowest breath out your mouth, really letting your breath slowly come out and letting your mind empty of all expectations. Yeah, it fucking works. That's why I love this shit. It always surprises people. It's like, this woo-woo shit fucking works. Yes, it does. Your reactions are my favorite so far. Yeah, 6, 2, and 8. And again, you can stack it. This is real shamanism. It's not complicated. This is all stuff everyone's body can do. Good. And oh man, I'm going to frame some of these. These are fantastic. I had a roommate that healed herself out of a wheelchair by speaking love to her body. Yeah, it's true. The guy who taught me this tool, he was in hospital with organ failure, right? He nearly freaking died. He did exactly the same thing. He talked every organ back into life. The only one he couldn't finish was the kidney because he had too much trauma locked in the kidney. So he's on dialysis. But everything else, and you see the dude, he's like 6'4", you know, he's been on dialysis for 20 years. Man's fucking invincible, you know. But yeah, it's real. There's a friend of mine, I'm going to put the clip up at some point. I haven't had the time to edit it, but because my kid's 8 months old, so I've got half the time that I used to have. But my friend couldn't bend his hand for 6 months. He's an engineer. He's been a coder since he was 12. He was actually one of those coders who sold a game when he was a kid and made a lot of money, right? So he's in his 50s, trying to bend his hand. Hasn't been able to bend his hand for 6 months. And he just had an intuitive hit. He goes, Dan, can you help me with this? I can't bend my hand. So I tuned into his hand, and it felt like what it was telling me was, I am putting so much pressure on myself to make money because it's hard right now and I need to do it, or I'll fail my family, everything will suck, etc. Like levels of pressure that he actually put on himself initially when he was a kid. He wanted to save his parents because they grew up poor. That was his motivation. Back then it worked. But you stack that energy over decades, it starts to debilitate your body because there are hidden beliefs that start to grow underneath that. Think about how you stack invocation just once or twice with awareness. And then imagine how many times you stack negative beliefs about yourself that you're saying in your head and what effect that could have on your body, right? If you're not blowing your own mind right now, yeah, I'd be a little shocked. Imagine the shit that you've said to yourself and what impact that could have had on your body, on your biofield and all the other stuff. So anyway, my buddy, I tell him, say to your hand right now, and I'll put a timer on for 3 minutes, I'm sorry I've been so harsh to you and put so much pressure on you. I now allow you 3 minutes to rest. Put the timer on for 3 minutes. And he just had his, he was just like looking at his hand the whole time. Time was going off. We were just chatting about other stuff. And then timer hits. And I go, mate, how's your hand? And he goes, I can bend my fucking hand, Daniel. What's happening? That's how bloody simple it can be. But we've been told it's not the case because, I'm not going to get into all of the conspiracy bollocks, but yeah, there are people who had an interest in stripping us of these very powerful, simple tools and these things that our system comes born with. We're all natural creators. We create our reality, and there's a whole thing around that. I'm going to give you 2 more tools before we sign off, and I'll tell you a little bit about the other things I'm doing. These 2 tools are very simple. So the first one, do any of you feel density in your body, like tension? Like if your legs feel a little dense or your arms, anything like that? All right, give me a Y if you do. So much. Okay. So the other one, this is a really simple tool, right? So measure that density, how it feels right now. There's other tools for this, but I'm just giving you the shortest stuff I can, trying to cram a lot in 90 minutes. Yeah. Okay. So legs, yes, yes, yes. Okay. So what I'm going to ask you to do is stand up and you're going to stomp your feet. But as you stomp your feet, you're breathing out in sync with the stomping, like you're saying, any tension in my body, I'm sending it to the earth. Okay? So you're holding the intention that any tension, anger you've been holding in, you're sending to the earth. And I'm going to make a note to send you guys another technique in the emails. Okay? So just stomp your feet with intention. You're not trying to hurt yourself, but you're stomping with the intention that the tension in your body, the density, is being moved through your legs, out your feet into the earth. Excuse me. I think I'm burping for you. All right, that intention part is important. If your mind's drifting off and you're like, why am I doing this? This feels stupid. It's not going to have the same effect. The intention is sort of like the programming code that moves the energy on behalf of you. That's like putting the mouse pointer and clicking it rather than just looking at the screen. Yeah? Okay. So take a moment to just stop, stand, and see how you feel. How does the density feel now? Horses, yeah. Horses intuitively do this. And body shaking is another thing people do. Animals do. They'll do like a full body shake, right? And they do that because in moments where they have clashes, where animals attack each other, they're trying to get their food and whatnot by killing something else. If they escape, their body has all that tension, all that traumatic moment recorded. They shake it out and then they're fine. Yeah, that's a Qigong practice as well. Yeah, all of these things come from the same source. Shamanism is essentially the manual for how the human works, right? But it got distributed in different cultures. So a lot of the cultures have the same ideas. The egg, rubbing an egg on you to get rid of bad energy. That's a thing multiple shamanic systems have. Not all of them, but many of them. All right. So yeah, you may notice some of that density feels like it's left, right? Give me a Y if it did and N if it didn't. There you go. So much simple stuff. Yeah, and the other tool, another tool is shaking. Yeah. There you go. And So yeah, you can also ask your body questions. That's out of the scope for today because there's some steps and all that. And you know, I like to take people step by step. I don't want to rush you through it. I'm going to give you one more tool. We're going to do the quick version of it, but I'm also going to send you the article for this tool that gives you the full instructions. Okay. The shaking helped more than the stomping, but I don't know if I was stomping right. No, it's not about one being better than the other overall. Different tools for different jobs. Yeah? I have another tool I don't have time to teach you, but I'm going to put in the email, and it is my wonderfully crassly named shit fuck cunt technique. And what it essentially is moving anger out of your body through toning. Right? So a lot of people will teach you, you know, rage, yelling at a tree, hitting a tree with a tennis racket. The tree didn't do anything to you. Why are you going to hit a tree? You know, screaming obscenities. Yeah, it's a screaming obscenities. The problem with screaming, you burn your throat. Yeah, and then you can't actually move the energy with sustainability. So shit, fuck, cunt. The reason I name it that is because firstly, those words are very polarizing, but they're also words that some people need to say. They feel ashamed to say it. So you get them toning it operatically. Suddenly they're like coughing and crying and all sorts. And they're really moving energy. So I'm going to send you a lot of information as a supplement to this, right? And yeah, the shit fuck cunt's in my Instagram, so I'm just going to send you that link anyway. But tonal movement. So I'm going to ask you right now, if there's any tension in your body lighting up, any discomfort, where in your body is it? Please share in the chat. Shoulders, okay. Hips, heart, back. Oh wow, 3 places. Okay. Knees, but now maybe better. Okay. Neck, left ankle. Interesting. Okay, so we got a wide spectrum. All right. Heart and spleen and shoulders. So I'm going to give you guys some. So this specific technique is tied to specific emotions and energy centers, right? So I'm going to give each of you a different location to focus on and a different tone. But I'm going to send you the article that actually lays it all out. Yeah? So you're not going to be missing anything. You're not going to be like, there's no, let go of any FOMO. You can use this technique as many times as you want, but I'll give you the source, right? So let's see. Shoulders are usually tied to throat and heart. It's usually tied to burdens and things like that. So for you, Gail, I'm going to give you, so your tone is going to be E, and you're not going to do it by burning your throat. You're going to hold the tone with, basically you take a breath in, and that's your fuel for holding a tone, right? Because if you run out of air, there's no tone. And focus your energy on the shoulders. So think of, I'm going to breathe in, and then I know my tone is E, like the end of the word B. And I'm going to breathe, I'm going to tone the breath out from the area where the density is. So for you, it's the shoulders, right? So just imagine that the air is coming out of the shoulders, out of your throat. You're going ee, and you're holding the tone as long as you can, but repeat it over and over. Yeah? So Gail, start whenever you wish. Next is Stephanie, knees. Okay. So knees, we're all cats purring to heal our bones. Abso-fucking-lutely. All right. So knees, I'm going to say for you, oh, that's interesting. I'm actually getting, for you, I'm getting sacral. Okay. So knees are actually usually tied to stepping in your power, holding your power, being in your power, right? But for you, I'm seeing sacral as linked to that. So, so sacral, if you don't know where it is, it's an energy center, an emotional center that is about roughly 2 inches below the navel and inside. Yeah. They usually call it the sexual center, the creative center, etc., etc. The sound for you is actually you. hold that tone as long as you can. Take a big breath in, focus on the knees as the lungs that are holding the air, and then as you tone, you, and you're pulling it out of the knees, right? And you're going to repeat it, okay? Next is Megan. All right, I'm going to give you one because there's three, but I'm going to send you the instructions so you can play with it. For you, heart, and I'm going to say back of heart, okay? Back of heart between the scapula. Your tone is also E. Hold it as long as you can. When you finish, take a moment to just pause, see how you feel. Do it again. Yeah? Brilliant. Okay. Ceci, neck, throat. Okay? I actually think for you it's more heart. So I'll give you the choice. Heart is E. Throat is A. Like Fonzie from Happy Days, like the noise he used to make, right? A. So it almost sounds like E, but it's just a little different, okay? So yeah, focus on the throat and that. Again, you're bringing the air in first, and then the breath out is coming from the lung that is the area holding the density, okay? And then we've got Paran, left ankle. That's a holding power. I'm actually getting root for you. So root is O. You're pulling it out of the ankle, but you may actually feel it go up to your tailbone or your rectum. Yeah, it might actually go around there or like the lower stomach. So if you O, you know, like the beginning of Odin or oh my God. Yeah. So yeah, once again, breathe in, fill your lungs, and then breathe out from the area where you're feeling the tension with the tone. And then when you, what was I going to say? Yeah, when you're out of breath, take a moment just to observe what you feel and then go again. Shabala, heart, spleen, and shoulders. Oh, darling. Okay. You, heart, back of heart. In between the scapula, maybe a little lower, closer to the diaphragm. Okay. E, right? Okay, between all of us, it covers a lot of parts. Yep, that's why I said I'm going to send you the article so you can play with the whole. The whole meditation technique was one of the techniques I did to help me recalibrate my body to have emotional sense. Because that's the lack of emotional sense is actually what was the foundational issue of why I had a heart attack. I went with the heart one and my dog loved it. Fantastic. Okay, so I think that's all of you. So I'm going to give you guys a little time to do that. All right, I'm going to put on a timer. We're going a little bit over, but you know what? It's fucking worth it. I love to see people liberated and happy. This is my happy place. So I've got the timer on. You got a few minutes just to play with the tones, okay? And remember to take that moment to pause between tones, just to see what's going on. You might cough, you might burp, you might yawn. That's just the density leaving the body. Yeah, and if you need a moment to cry or purge in any way, take the time. You know, no rush. You can do this in your own time. I'm going to send you the article that basically tells you how to do it whenever you want. But yeah, it's one of my favorite techniques. Going through, yeah, I'll tell you after. Don't want you distracted. Now you got just less than 1 minute left. So if you do want to go for another move at one of those tones, like your biggest one, go for it. Don't put pressure on yourself. I'm just trying to make it a little more exciting for you, you know. All right. 10 seconds. All right, folks. So when you are finished with this next tone, please just put in the chat how you feel and what your Zen score is. Score out of Zen. It's catchy. I like it. I'm going to keep using that one. Look at that. 9.5. 11. Ha! Got a Spinal Tap reference in there too. Good work. 10. Fucking look at this. Brilliant. You all smashed it. 9, 10. Brilliant. Absolutely thrilled with this result. Folks, well done. So all of you are going to get an email, and I have a massage scheduled in 30 minutes. Dude, you win. I want a bloody massage in 30 minutes. Probably going to go get one tomorrow. First one in months. Yeah. So clearly this shit works, right? You're going to get the recording. I'm going to send you in your emails. Definitely drink lots of water. That's a bloody good idea. I'm going to send you the aftercare instructions as well, because you technically just did some healing work, even though it did seem quite light. All right. I'm going to send you some of the, not just the tools that you've learnt today, like obviously all of the tonal thing, because that's one of my favorites. But also the shit fuck cunt technique, which is really good for moving anger out of the body, especially if you come from a background where anger was shamed. And unfortunately, a lot of women I know have gone through that. And this, I actually invented that technique based on a female client who really wanted to say she thought her mother was a cunt, but had so much shame around it. And she was able to belt. So this is a very shy 5-foot lady, like really had difficulty with profanity. And I was like, it looks like you want to say the word cunt. It's okay. No one's here to judge you, right? This is just your body wanting to express itself. And that word seems to be the perfect energy, like the perfect package to put it in. So she belted cunt like one of the finest punk vocalists I've ever heard. I was so proud of her, and she broke down crying and laughing at the same time. And, you know, now she's a different person. It's fantastic. But it's really powerful. So, oh, Piran, I didn't know you grew up in England. I'm there right now. I'm in London, and it is nice. Yeah, definitely very suppressed here for sure. But yeah, so you're going to get all of that. And the only things I want to let you guys know, Cornwall, I've been meaning to go there for ages, actually. It's been on my list. So the only other things I need to tell you about are, I do have a special on psychic readings right now. And the psychic readings I specialize in are more about subconscious things you have trapped in your body that are holding you back. The special I have right now is for 45 minutes. It's 150. Usually my readings are 250 for an hour. So forget maths. It's cheaper. That's basically all you need to know. But if you want to book that, on my Instagram, which is The Magic Mechanic with a CK, if you go in the link in bio thing, it's all there. You know, or just message me through email and I'll send you the link. But that's one of the things I'm doing right now. So there's a special on my psychic readings. I can and I do oracular style, like where is my life headed? What's this look like? How do I make this happen? I do that stuff too. but my specialty is more on like the body storing density and what subconscious patterns those are and how to heal them and that kind of thing. So that's thing one. Thing two, I have a workshop that is actually part of a whole course, but I chopped it so people could get just the basics if that's all they wanted. And if they wanted to go super deep and learn from the position of a practitioner, they could. And it's basically everything to do with healing, communicating with the body, what a pain in a certain place means in the body, how to communicate with it, how to undo it and transform it into a healed state. All of that shit in great depth across a course, but there's a 4-hour workshop that's pay what you can because I want it to be open to as many people as possible. It's worth about $250. I'm not bullshitting. 4 hours of my time in a group setting, but I'm letting people, if they're really struggling, so I put it like, if you're a single mum struggling, if you're someone who's got PTSD, if you can't find work, give me $5. That's the minimum amount you can pay for it. $5, right? For 4 hours of the most important shit that I'm going to teach anyone. And it's a lot deeper than what you've got today, right? So that's on my website right now. I'll write it here. Hold on. And I'll send it you in the email as well. All right. So that's the first 4 hours of it. The whole course is actually 22 hours. I've got to put the info up on the site. I'm going to be doing that soon. But yeah, the whole course is a flat fee. The whole course is basically, it's probably worth about $2,500 because it's 22 hours. And it's really deep and there's group work and all of that. Like really, you're going to learn how to do what I do for people as my main offering. I'm basically teaching all of that. How to read someone's body psychically, how to get into their trauma, how to then share it back with them, how to read them visually as well as intuitively, like all of that. I'm not holding back anything. But the 4-hour version is pay what you can. And if you feel this will help someone, please share it with them. And I'm actually going to do that workshop multiple times before we start the main course, because I want more people to have that. Yeah. Ceci, love you too, darling. So that's the other thing I'm offering. So yeah, basically psychic special, $150 on my web, not on my website. I don't know. I need to sort that out. It's on my Instagram, but my Instagram is the same as the website minus the .com. And Gail, lovely to have you, darling. I'm glad you had a great experience. And yeah, so psychic special, it's called Somatic Mechanics. That's the name of the workshop. And is there a third thing? Yeah, you can work with me in a healing session. I can actually help you transform these densities, chronic pains, any of that in a one-on-one session. And I do 90-minute sessions for $350. If you're struggling, DM me and I'll send you a discount code. If you're not struggling, cool, you know? So yeah, that's basically it. Does anyone have any questions? I will happily answer questions before we sign off.
Thank you so much. That was the best.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I really enjoyed it. Thank you, Daniel. Megan invited me here and I wasn't sure if I should be here. And then you pulled out your Shungite and talked about Shasta. And I told Megan I had one of my best spiritual experiences at Shasta with all these witchy, woo-woo, energetic grid stuff. So, you know, when things are for you, when you have similar storied synchronicities. So thank you for holding this session today. And I'm a techie. So
perfect.
Tech Week.
What'd you do in tech?
I'm a founder of a deep tech startup. I transition out of news tech into AI infrastructure for the dreaded data centers, but we're trying to make them green and sustainable. That's the big one. That's the big thing.
Good. So you're trying to take them into those hulking machines that are killing everything and shrinking.
It's all about small modular reactors and having them use off-grid energy sources, not relying on the people's grid that is paid with tax dollars. It's very important that we go there.
Good. What you're doing is important as fuck. Yes.
Thank
you. Please win. There's someone else I met actually who's got a solution for the water usage. Apparently, they're like, we don't need to use that much water. We don't know why they're doing that. It's really stupid. So I forget
I
her
agree.
name, but if I can find her, I'll link you. I'll send you the
Oh,
email.
please do. Please
Yeah,
do.
because that shit
Thank you.
needs to happen.
Yes.
Well, lovely meeting you. And she's a journalist. Oh, brilliant. That's my background too. I- That's trippy. Small world. And by the way, I lost my other orb, so it's kind of cool that you've got one.
I'm willing to bet it'll come back in some witchy woo woo way because
Probably.
Shungite does that
It
with
does.
EMFs. They can teleport. Shungite is weird. It's
It
it's
is
a it's a
weird.
beautiful crystal though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was very skeptical about crystals. This was the second experience that made me go, oh, okay, crystals are definitely not bullshit. You know, because the first one was I had a friend who I was going through heartbreak and she goes, I have this pink rock. Lay down on my bed, put it on your chest. And I was just like, oh, I'll do anything. I don't care. I'll like bark like a fucking dog, whatever. And she goes, all right, puts it on my chest. I just felt like all the grief being pulled out of my chest. What
You
the
talking about rose quartz?
boom. Yeah.
I have it wrapped in a copper staff and it'll heal just about
Oh,
anything.
fuck
So,
yeah. It's great. But you get a nice heavy lump of it and put it on your chest when you're grieving. Magic.
oh, dude,
Just
you do it during a hero
do it.
session and you do like a Shakti pot to the third eye, it'll zap some loving awareness into you instantly.
Nice. Well,
Instant.
you clearly do good work with your crystals, madam.
Some.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Any other questions or shares? Otherwise, I will set you all free.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Lovely seeing you.
Thank you. Bye.